So I've created a ton of video content across the last 5 years now here on my YouTube channel, and I've been asked why not just did I make the switch from Canon to Sony, but why I've really kind of honed in when it comes to Sony cameras. So I just wanted to take a dedicated video to be able to address that fully. And this is not to say that one brand is better than the other, but I do believe there are certain tools that are better depending on the use case, and for a lot of use cases when it comes to being a content creating entrepreneur, Sony fits the bill. I've used a ton of cameras, like a ton. I've owned a lot of cameras when it comes to Panasonic, and a lot of their different lineup of types of cameras to Canon. That is where I started. And now with Sony, that it has been and become a home for me when it comes to picking out a camera. The question of just like the why I switched, it isn't like, oh, this one has more features, because something like you look at a camera like the M50, even the M50 Mark II, is not really built for all of the things that I eventually grew into when it comes to becoming a content creating entrepreneur. Creating a couple 5 to 10 minute videos in 5 to 10 minute batches, even at the long end, if it's 20 minutes of raw content that gets edited down to 5 or 10 minutes, that's fine. But when we introduce live streaming, long-term uses of the camera, getting into video production work, and now just honestly my own regular content creation being at a video production level, I just needed a better tool that would do the job. But overall, when I look at what are the Canon offerings, what are even the Nikon offerings, Olympus offerings from other brands and things like that, Canon was just not a brand that would work for me, and nor did they make a solid upgrade path. So even if they had cameras which at the time didn't do the job or wasn't built for that, which is fine, were they going to upgrade cameras in a way that made that make sense? So it's like, oh, okay, cool. I have the M50 today and I know what it's built for and what it's designed to do, which is vlogging, simple content creation, which it does, and it does a good job at. But when I, as a creator, and when I, as an entrepreneur, grow into needing more things, what do you have available for me? It's not about full frame or APS-C or sensor sizes or anything like that, but they weren't putting any lenses into the lineup. And when you look at even third-party options, not a whole lot of people were making lenses for the camera. As a content creating entrepreneur, somebody that's creating a holistic process around the work that I'm doing, not just doing YouTube videos, but that is a part of the work that I'm doing, I need something that records that video internally, in addition to being able to send out that live streaming signal at the same time. Have efficiencies when it comes to me being able to record internally and also USB charge at the same time. Things like the IBIS is great. It's not something I use a ton, but it's something that's helpful. Having a headphone jack so I don't have to rely on anything extra. Just having a lot of things built into the camera already is nice. Picture profiles, so you can, even if you're not doing heavy color grading, getting your own stylistic look, getting your own specific look works for you. There are a lot of different things, even like the 4K unlimited recording. I can't tell you how many times that this has come in handy with me, especially when you look at a year like 2020. I have looked at all of the things that I've done, all of the speaking engagements that I've been honored to be able to do. When I went to the camera that could do the job and work nonstop, it was the Sony cameras. I've ran the Canon camera, it's done more than it was even built to do. And it's a great camera for a certain use case, but for content creating entrepreneurs, for the work that we're doing and all that's encompassed in that, not just for where you're starting, but to where you're going, Sony fits the bill. Even with something like the ZV-1, punching way above its weight class. That's not something that Canon, the brand as a whole, is doing. We could really look around the table for any of the brands. They're doing it. Nikon is doing it. Olympus, even though they kind of went out of business, they're still doing it, or at least put the features in before they kind of exited out. And it's just a lot of other things that I want to have options so that when my business got to a certain point, I didn't now have to think, oh man, it'd be great if. So when you buy too cheaply, you are also buying the problems that come with it. I never bought the M50 for it to do all what it did. And even with the content that I made with it was awesome. However, when I fast forward and I look into if I wanted to upgrade what's available that can do even what the A6400 can do or the A6600, the answer was nothing that they had available. And even what they came out with was very lackluster and was always crippled in some way. We'll give you this, but won't give you that kind of a deal. And it just became tiring, very, very tiring. So finding a home with the Sony cameras was just, I don't know, it was like a breath of like just inspiration for new content, not just because it was new gear, but because it made sense. Like anything that I want to do, I can do. And it's not about what features or creativity and that whole conversation. It just literally, it has the capabilities built in. I don't have to think about workarounds for the workaround. It can just do it. And at the end of the day, I want gear that can just do it. So I don't have to think about what tool or what other third-party thing, or if you only have this, then you could, no. Can you just do it out the box? And, you know, for me, that made sense to go the Sony route instead of going the Canon route, and even sticking with them as they go into more full frame cameras and whatever. And even since the R5 and R6 and all the rest of them come out, still workarounds that people are having to do for basic stuff. If I wanted to do 4K unlimited content, so I can turn this into an Instagram story or YouTube stories now, or Instagram reels or whatever it is that I want to do. And I'm recording in 4K so I can adjust for the compression that these different softwares are going to have, maintain a brand consistency no matter what. That's important to me. Sony was the bill. So wanted to be able to put this all in a video. So when people ask me, I can send it to them and share with them all of the things when it comes to it. It's just the ceiling was extremely high when it comes to content creation, and whatever I think about, I can just make it and do it. Whatever I need in my business for content wise, the cameras can just do it without any excuses, any additional software tools or resources. It can just do it. And it's not that so much so, you know, like any camera is a bad camera. You can be successful with your phone and the content that you can create with that, and people are doing that. But for me, cameras are my tool of choice that work best for me and how my brain works. And when I want to create something, it's just the right tool. Same reason we buy track shoes when you're getting ready to run track, and there are football cleats when you're getting ready to play football versus dress shoes on the football field. So just the right tool for the right job. So hopefully this clears things up. If you guys have questions about this, definitely feel free to post those down below, and I'll see you in the next video.